Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, what's going on, buddy? Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Welcome to March.
Whew. It is March already, right?
Here we are.
Dang.
March 6th. I got a question for you. Speaking of wisdom of the ages, would you call this early spring? Are we in early spring? Or are we still in winter?
I think we're in, if we're in anything to do with spring at all right now, I'd say it's like false spring or fake spring.
You ain't helping me out here.
Why am I not helping you out? Because you
needs-
want it to be spring?
No.
Yeah, nah, man, this is Virginia. It could freaking snow next week.
Look, I'm talking about, I just put down crabgrass control on my grass. And they say put it down in early spring. And did I put it down too early? That's my question.
So let's play this out.
Does it like wear out? Does it?
If I were to tell you that, yes, absolutely, you put it down too early, would that be a crisis for you?
No,
Okay.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
It just means I'm going to have if I put it down too early and it loses its effectiveness because it's been out there too long,
Right.
then I'll just have a yard full of crabgrass. I won't like that, but I mean.
Or you can, treat it again.
Yeah, but it doesn't, once the crabgrass starts,
Right.
it doesn't, it stops it from
So
seeding.
it's a pre-emergent.
There we go. Well, that's a pretty fancy set of.
Hey, the only reason I know that is because my lawn guys use that terminology. They're like,
It's pre-emergent.
we're putting down some pre-emergent stuff.
Okay.
Apparently that makes it, not grow.
Did you?
It gets it before it starts.
Yeah, exactly. That's so. I just wondered if I put it down too early, but it's been spring-like weather. But you're right. I think it's fake spring. Anyway, blah blah blah.
Right. Who freaking cares? We're not here to talk about the weather. There are much less reliable sources to talk about the weather than us.
Correct. You're right. Sorry for the diversion. I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about daily intentions. Yeah.
That sounds serious.
It is serious.
Daily intentions.
Right.
I like that word, intentions.
I know you like that word.
Intention.
You
I use
that
it
word.
frequently.
Yes, you do.
Yes. I like it. So I'm excited about this topic.
So let me tell you where this came from.
All right.
Because there's always a story, right?
Mhm.
This story is probably a year ago. I was watching this woman who on YouTube who has a very large following. She's a yoga person. She's a yoga expert, yoga instructor, yogi. Is that what they're called? Are they called yogis?
I think that's accurate.
Okay. So she's a yogi,
Mhm.
and she's got, I don't know, a couple million followers.
Nice.
And I was listening to her talk about kind of the intro stuff that she says before the actual practice starts.
Mhm.
And she talked about having an intention for that practice. So if you're going to be doing this for the next 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever she's about to do,
Right.
lead you through, she said, okay, let's start out. And then they're doing something quiet and still. And then they're saying, she's telling you to like decide upon your intention.
Right.
And I thought, that's pretty cool. When I first heard it, I thought it was kind of strange, not ever having been really paid any attention to yoga. But then I started thinking about it. And I listened to a couple other things that she said on other videos that were similar in nature. And it just sort of opened this world of, okay, I know what it means to move with intention. You know what it means to move with intention. We've talked
Right.
about it many times. And instead of doing it just for a yoga practice that's going to last for 30 minutes, many people do this. In fact, I do it. I don't think I've ever called it this, but have an intention for the day.
Yep.
That's what I wanted to talk
I
about.
think it's cool that you framed it up like that, right? Because you're absolutely right. You do have an intention for your day, a framework that you operate in on a regular basis, right? So things, habits that you'll do every morning to get the day headed in a certain direction, or to get your mindset right, get your body ready, and just all of those things. So yeah, I think it's cool, especially when you start sitting down and thinking about it and just kind of mapping it out. For me, I think it starts the day before, right?
Okay.
So the evening, at the end of the day, when you're finishing stuff up, there's, things that maybe you didn't get all the way through that you need to get through the following day. And, that's a good time to do some planning, make your to-do lists, for the following day. But I love the whole, idea of, waking up with an intention. This is what I'm going to accomplish today. This is, and I mean, there's lots of things that go into it. Your mindset, your demeanor. I mean, you can focus on all of those things and really hold that view. You visualize how you want the day to go, and you see it before it happens. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And lots of people do it. I'm sure people listening are going to say, goodness gracious, what rock did you just crawl out from under? I've been doing this my whole life, kind of thing. There are people who wake up.
Yes, if you're one of those people,
right?
We're not talking to you. Okay. It might be a review. And at the same time, there could be people out there that are hearing this for the first time. They're like, oh my goodness, that makes so much sense. We should start doing that.
Exactly. Or they're hearing about it again, and it gives them enough of a push,
right,
to get them over the edge to start it. Anyway, I started doing this, and then the more I thought about it, and the more I sort of began to do some research on it, I remembered years ago, this is probably 25, 30 years ago, I read Ben Franklin's autobiography. And he had a very interesting and very related practice in his life. He wrote up a document called The 13 Virtues. And 13 was a number that he selected on purpose. And he lists them. I actually have them. I can read to you what they are. Resolution, industry, cleanliness, order, justice, sincerity, moderation, temperance, things like this. There's more of them, silence. And what he would do is he would go one at a time, start with number one. And number one in this case is resolution. And what resolution means in his definition is resolve to perform what you ought. Perform without fail what you resolve. That's what he means by that. I mean, you think about that. That's a very powerful thing. Resolve to perform what you ought. Perform without fail what you resolve. So in other words, do what you say what you do. And he would live this virtue for a week. Every day he'd wake up and say, I am going to live with resolution in everything that I do in this entire week. And that was his focus. And then after that week, he'd go to the second, he'd go to the third, and go to the fourth. And 13 divides evenly into 52 weeks of the year.
Right.
And so he would cover each one of these 4 times a year. And imagine kind of what that does to your mentality, that if you're focusing on sincerity or silence or frugality or chastity, whatever it is that you choose to. So he had this, he called it a virtue, but a daily intention that he would find. He did this all throughout his adult life.
That's interesting. Yeah. And it's, it's a great way to develop those habits. Yeah, I like that. I had not heard of that from him.
Yeah, and it was something that I read, and I never tried to do it that way, but I understood what they were and studied each one of those individually and thought they were pretty cool. Again, this was 30 years ago or 25. And then it just sort of faded away in life. And then I was also reminded of John Wooden, the basketball coach that I've talked about many times. He has this pyramid of success. And in his pyramid of success are very similar things. Let me read some of those to you. Enthusiasm, cooperation, loyalty, friendship, self-control, alertness, initiative, confidence, poise, skill. All of these things are
right.
pieces
And
of life.
how would he use those as far as a daily thing?
He said that he created a pyramid out of
Right.
them. On the bottom rung are the things that he thinks this is in your pursuit of success.
Okay.
But it's the same idea, and it is, first of all, you have to master the bottom row of the pyramid, then the next one up, then the next one up, and then the peak. And so they were elements of life that you needed to focus on in your life,
Right.
with intention, do things with intention. For example, let's just pick one: enthusiasm. And the energy that enthusiasm gives you, that's the bottom right-hand corner of the pyramid.
Right.
That is something that you need to incorporate into your daily life. I'm going to be enthusiastic about who I am, what I'm doing, what my job is, everything that I embrace. I'm going to have a degree of enthusiasm. Imagine if you did that with intention every day, how that would change your life as you march toward, in this case.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't add bad stuff to it.
Right. Right.
I think that's a cool framework.
Yeah. So those are just a couple real world examples that that people have gone before. And I thought, okay, these are actually real world examples of intention that I can and do currently live with. One of them is if I've got a major thing going on, a major project at work, or maybe it's at home, there's a major project.
Right.
When I think about that major project, I can get so discouraged because of how big and complicated it is. And so what I will do with intention and focus is I will chunk it down into little bitty pieces.
Right.
And say, well, I can't do this whole thing, but I can do this first piece. That's really easy.
Right. The old how do you eat an elephant, right?
Yeah.
One bite at a time.
So my intention is I'm going to do this one piece today. And then tomorrow I'm going to do this next little piece. And the next day I'm going to do this next little piece, and so on and so on. And that is a purposeful, intentioned action and mindset.
Yeah. And I think we talked about those daily habits, right? So no matter, what it is, you develop the positive habits that are going to help you do these things on a daily basis, whether it's, visualizing how you want your day to be, or doing something physically active each day, working out, watching what you eat, etc. Those are all the kinds of habits that you want to develop on a daily basis. The one thing that does jump out at me is how you prioritize these things and how you prioritize your time. You've heard me say before that there's no such thing as time management. That's anybody out there that's teaching time management is playing a shell game with you. Don't get sucked into that stuff. There's no such thing as time management. It is only managing priorities, right? There's only so much time in the day, only so much time, each year. It's not a matter, that time is a finite thing. You can't manage time. It is. It just is.
Right.
What you can manage is what you do in it or with it. And that's all about priorities. It's about, establishing what really matters and what has to get done, what needs to get, and so on. But I think that's a big part of it is establishing what those priorities are on a daily basis, and knowing that, okay, I've got, 3 must do's today. I've got some, lesser, yes, I'd like to do these today. And, if I don't get to them because I had to spend more time on these must do's, then, that's okay. I'll push them until tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's, just having that daily intention of setting it up that way. It's all about priorities.
Yeah. You've spoken about this whole idea of time management on a handful of occasions over the past couple of years as we've done this, and the degree of sort of conviction and passion and, well, that's conviction and passion that you speak about. It is the same. It's always the same. And this is a particular drum that you have a particular march to, and it's very consistent. And by the way, I think it's completely true. I love it.
I think at some point in a prior life, I was subjected to time management training that hurt me. I don't know what it was.
And you're right.
But I don't like the idea of it. It doesn't work.
No, but your point about making the priorities And intention is a specific tool that you can use to actually exercise that priority.
Right.
And here's something I thought of as you were talking, and that is, okay, so everybody, well, which ones do I pick? What are the most important? Look, just start somewhere. My intention today is going to be, I'm going to make this up. I'm going to have a bias for action. What does that mean? That means that I am going to be actively doing things that need to get done. And that is going to be my intention for the day. I promise you, if you wake up in the morning and you say, I'm just going to take action on it. Instead of thinking about it, talking about it,
Right.
writing it down, I'm going to do it.
Don't get stuck in the, what do they call it? Paralysis of analysis, right?
Right.
Don't get stuck in that. Just decide these are, or, I guess you could argue if you don't know which ones are the most important, then none of them are important.
There you go. Yeah. And you probably ought to take some time to think about it. So, So anyway, I have the intention to be well prepared today. I have the intention to have good energy today. I have the intention that I'm going to smile. Who knows? Maybe I'm going to smile today. I'm going to meet
good.
people and I'm going to smile.
Because I'm about tired of your grumpy ass face.
Yeah, I'm just throwing out examples of what people can say.
Absolutely.
Very simple stuff that it's so easy.
Well, and just saying that out loud, how can you not smile just saying that?
Right.
Or thinking that I'm going to smile today.
Right. I'm going to smile today, and everybody's going to wonder what I'm up to as a result.
Right. Yeah. That's what it is. You got to watch those people, right? The people that never smile and they come in the room smiling. It's like, oh, what are you up to?
I just think it's really valuable to do that, and would encourage everybody. And I'm doing it. Do I do it perfectly? Do I do it every single day? No, I don't. But is it a increasingly important aspect to my daily living? You bet it is. Today, my intention, and it all came from this yogi talking about, because she'll say, have the intention on you want to forget about everything that's bothering you and be focused on the, whatever. Or you want to, today your intention is to increase your flexibility during this yoga maneuver. Okay. Or today your intention is to focus on your core. Whatever it is.
Right.
But it's something. It's very cool.
Yeah, your mind's pretty powerful. We've said before that with visualization exercises that your mind and body can't tell the difference between the actual activity, actually doing it, and the practice of visualizing it.
That's right.
All the same things fire in your brain and so on. And so you use your brain to your advantage, right? So I think when you're talking about things of that nature, just getting your mind engaged and saying, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do that today. Your mind's like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing today.
Right.
And then things will follow suit.
There you go. There you go. Here's another really good intention. This is something that we've not talked about directly, but indirectly. Some people might wake up and say, my intention today is to show my wife or show my husband or show my partner that I really love them. That is going to be my intention for the day. And so as I go throughout this day, it will be reflected in the look that I give her, the way that I hold her, the things that I say to her, the cup of coffee that I hand her, all of those things. If you live with that kind of intention.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, or, adding into that, right? So I think we sometimes have a tendency to respond immediately when somebody says something to us. We'll often respond out of emotion based on, that immediate hit that we get. Right.
Yeah.
So maybe resolve to give yourself a moment to process what just, you just received, before responding. And, it might change the way you respond, because you've had you've given yourself that extra moment to process it, and, just might help your relationships.
That's a great one. I mean, I can, just because I can think of so many ways to apply it in my own life. You're going through every day and something comes in, and it can, especially those who have the predisposition toward a short fuse and to get upset quickly. That's not me, but particularly I would say I'm very average in that category. But there are some people who are like immediately they're And if they have the intention that you just described,
Right.
give yourself a minute.
Yeah, there's some people like that, like me 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
I've certainly have been guilty of that in times past, and there might be those that argue 20 years my ass, you did it last week. No. I think I've gotten much better about that. One of the things that I put out there now is, you can't disturb my calm. And while that's not 100% true, right? It's not without flaws. It's a lot harder to disturb my calm today than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I had calm 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. That means you're growing and maturing and getting better and stronger and faster every day. Getting something.
Right.
Getting something.
Yeah. Older.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
man.
There you go.
Grayer.
Live with daily intention. That's the point.
Yes, indeed. Map it out. Visualize it and put it into practice.
There you go.
All right. I'm visualizing myself over here hitting this button.
Yes.
Watch me do it.
You should have the intention not to screw it up.
I always have that intention but that's not true, because I think the times that I have jacked it up, clearly I did not have the intention. So now I'm going to have the intention.
Okay.
I'm visualizing me doing it correctly.
Yes.
You sure you don't have anything else to add on
good.
this?
I'm done.
I think you've given this example about here we go. I did have to think about it. No matter who you are, where you are, and what you're doing, make sure between this podcast and the next, you take time to enjoy the ride.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.